This is the Xbox mini fridge. That's right, Microsoft made a small refrigerator that looks exactly like the Series X, fully embracing the meme. Inside of the box, you have your documentation and instruction manual, and then the mini fridge itself. And this thing is spot on. I mean, from a distance, it's kind of hard to tell that this isn't actually the console itself, other than the fact that obviously it's much bigger at 1.5 times the scale. But the attention to detail here is really good. I mean, taking a look around, the front looks pretty much identical. You've got the Xbox badge at the top left, a fake disk tray, and even a full-sized USB port. On the left side, you get that Xbox badge, but what's different here, of course, is you have a handle for opening the fridge's door. On the back, you get all these same ports, just like on the actual console, but obviously these are fake ports. And then up here, in place of where the vent is on the actual console, you have the controls for the fridge itself. There's your DC and AC plugs, and a switch for turning it on, either in Eco mode or the Max mode. But let's open up the door where we have the included power cables, where you get one for both AC and DC, so if you wanted to, you could use this on the go in your car. Inside of the fridge, you have 2 removable trays and these tiny little shelves here on the door itself. I don't know what you'd realistically be able to put in there, but I guess it doesn't hurt to have. All right, let's turn this bad boy on. And it's loud, at least in the Max mode. In the Eco mode, the fans do turn down a little, but I don't know, I still think it's pretty loud. So with it powered on now, we can test the buttons up in the front, where the Xbox badge on the top left isn't actually a button like it is on the console, but the sync button is actually used to turn on that Xbox logo, while the eject button here turns on the light at the top of the fridge. And then finally, you have a full-sized USB port that's actually a real port, so if you wanted to, you could technically charge something up with this. So up top, you have a similar concave design like on the console, but it doesn't seem to go quite as deep as the real thing. But still, it's nice that it's concave, and hey, at least this one lights up. That's something that the real console doesn't do. So with that light on, you can actually see how the thermoelectric cooling works. You have this fan as an intake, and then you have this little vent here as the exhaust that pushes out the heat. Where if you take a close look underneath, you can actually see the heatsink. The manufacturing partner that Microsoft uses says this setup is good enough to drop the temperature by up to 36 degrees compared to the room that you have it in, meaning it's not necessarily going to run as cool as a real fridge, but it'll still be cool enough for your drinks. Now, something worth noting here is the manufacturer says that this mini fridge isn't intended for continuous use, and that you can expect some condensation depending on the ambient temperature of the room. In fact, the little rubber feet at the bottom of the fridge are actually taller on the front side to kind of tilt the whole thing back a little bit, which I assume is to help prevent any leakage. Alright, so with the trays inside of the fridge being removable, we had to test it, and yes, the actual Xbox console fits inside of the mini fridge almost perfectly. This obviously doesn't have any practical value, but I don't know, I just find it fun that it fits. In terms of practical use though, you can fit up to 12 16-ounce canned drinks in here, or 5 of those bigger 20-ounce bottles. Again, it's not going to keep your drinks as cold as a regular fridge would, but at just $100, you can't really expect too much out of this mini fridge, and really the idea here is mostly just for fun.